If you're asking yourself, what is the purpose, what is the point behind teaching your horse how to bow? Here are some things for you to consider. Teaching the bow is a really fun way to test your horse's ability to read your intent and test your ability to project a clarity of intent. It's also great for improving their ability to respond to steady pressure. So if you have a horse that maybe drags on the halter, is dull to your leg, maybe even pulls back, those are all negative responses to steady pressure. And this is just another creative way that you can help build in that responsiveness. I also love to teach the bow on both sides because it offers a really good stretch for them through their thoracic sling. If you've ever done carrot stretches with your horse, a lot of times you lure the horse into a very similar stretch. So I teach it on both sides so that I have the benefits of that, just increasing their range of motion in the shoulder as well. And on top of all of that, it's fun, it's cute, it's a party trick. It's also an awesome way to engage with your horse if you are limited on time and space. So for me today, my daughter is taking a nap in the barn, and this is the space that I have to work in so that I can stay close by to her. Maybe it's the winter, it's muggy outside, your horses are stalled because of a storm, or you only have 10 minutes to get something done with your horse and you want to find connection and engagement and give them a little puzzle to solve. So I wanted to take the opportunity to show you what the progression actually looks like with a horse who has never done it before. So this is Everett. He's a 3-year-old Welsh Cob pony, and I'm going to be logging with videos my sessions with him on the bow so that you guys can see what the progression looks like and you can see what I grade as progress. All right, so this is session 1 with Everett, and there's 2 things I'm after in this very first session. Number 1 is to check the quality of him picking up his feet. If he doesn't pick up that foot softly and isn't responsive to me adding steady pressure to that foot, then that's going to be something I need to get cleaned up right away, because that is first priority. Once I have softness in picking up the foot, then I'm going to be going for my second goal, which is rewarding the thought and the rock. So what I mean by that is I'm going to reward the horse's thought of backwards and their weight rocking back, because that's where the bow is going to take root. And so far, I've never had a horse actually touch their knee down and bow on the first session. But what I found is that if I can reward the thought and the rock and build on that, it actually comes quite quickly. Now, this is a time where I do use treats quite often because it accelerates the learning process. But I want to make sure that I'm not being greedy and that I'm not developing negative patterns with my horse's association with me and the learning process. So I have 3 treats in my pocket. This is something that holds me accountable to not being greedy and just peppering this in. So now we're going to get into setting up for teaching the bow. I like to put my lead rope wrapped around the neck because eventually I'm going to use this to help guide him backwards. But today I'm just thinking about installing the bow button and rewarding the thought and the rock. So what I'm going to do is pick up his foot. And again, if that quality of response is not soft, I always have to address that first because I can't build on something that has a rocky foundation. Assuming he picks up his foot softly, I'm going to install a button right here at the point of the shoulder. That is my bow button right here. Okay, so I'm going to ask him to pick up his foot. I'm in the bow position, meaning I'm facing forward. And now I'm going to put my fingers on the point of his shoulder and pull softly, but I'm going to draw his hoof backwards with my right hand as I apply steady pressure to the point of his shoulder. Wonderful. That was absolutely a rewardable moment. So I'm going to give him a treat, but I give the treat with his head low, below his withers, and his nose in the center of his chest. That was really, really good for the first one. So I'm going to let him enjoy that treat. I have 2 more. Again, I'm only going for 3 improvements with this session, and then I'm gonna table the conversation and I'll pepper it in the next day. So I'm gonna reposition him for the camera before I do my second effort, and I'm gonna push his shoulder away from me like this. There. Now, it's a really important yield to sprinkle in because the horses can often get pushy. Like even there, see, he's starting to bring his nose. So I'm just gonna block that and say no, no, thank you. Because if he starts pushing on me with his nose or his shoulder, we're gonna end up spinning in circles. I know because I've done it before. So I'm gonna go for effort 2. First, I'm gonna pick up the foot, make sure that's soft. Then I'm gonna press the button, point of the shoulder, and reward his thought and his rock. Now, this seems maybe a little woo-woo, but as I'm rocking backwards, I'm really thinking it. Like I have a really strong mental picture that I am influencing this energetic bubble around us, and I'm drawing it backwards with my belly button and my attitude, and see if he can follow that feel. So step 1, how soft is the pickup of the foot? Very good. Step 2, I'm gonna grab my rope and press my button on the point of the shoulder. And now as I press, I'm gonna draw backwards, thinking backwards. There he's leaning in, there. That's a rewardable moment. Treat happens head low, nose in front of the chest. All right, so I've got 1 more treat. We're gonna go for 1 more effort. On the second try, he drew his right foot back as well. So I'm gonna be particular about that one this time, that I don't reward him unless he keeps that right foot planted on the ground, because I don't want it to turn into him hopping backwards. He needs to ground that right front, because that's gonna be the one that he extends as he bows. So you might see me hopping around with him a little bit, and just making sure that I'm really rewarding on the quality that I want, and rewarding on a moment that's gonna set me up for my next session to build on the bow. So I'm gonna get my rope set. I'm gonna drive the shoulder away softly just to set the stage that I'm pushing his shoulder. Very good, he doesn't get to push on me. Pick up the foot. Now there he's already backing up, so I'm gonna address that now and say, no, this isn't about backing up. This is about picking up your foot. Nope, not about backing up. Picking up the foot. Very good. I haven't even asked yet. I'm just gonna wait, because he's very smart and I don't want this to turn into something that he takes over. It's gotta be connected to my intention and connected to my cue. So I'm actually gonna just reward that. Remember, reward the thought is super important, and if he's thinking about taking over and getting ahead of me, I don't want that. See if I can pick it up again without him walking backwards or taking over. Very, very good. He needs to be ready but waiting, which I feel like we have that quality now. So I'm gonna see if I can draw him backwards with my intention and a little feel on this button. Looking for the right front to stay planted. Good boy. Yes, yes, that was wonderful. Treat is down, nose in front of the chest. So what I really loved about that one is that you could see his right foot locked out and he started to extend it. So that's where I would end this session, and I'll pick it up tomorrow or whenever I get to work with him next, and just keep building on those 3 improvements until that left knee touches the ground, right leg stays extended. So you may have noticed in session 2 that on the second attempt, and possibly more than that, his hip ended up kicking out and we changed our orientation from where we originally started. So today is session 3 and I'm gonna use this stall wall to help act as a training wheel to keep him straight, because I don't want to develop a habit of him kicking his hip away, because that indirectly is him pushing on me with his shoulder. So if I was in the arena today, I would just put him up against the arena rail, but in the barn here, I have the same opportunity to block that and interrupt that pattern before it gets established. So I've got my 3 treats in my pocket and we're gonna go for 3 efforts. Good. 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 Good boy. Okay, I've got 1 treat left and I want to share my thoughts. So you can see these first 2 efforts on session 3 have been fantastic. He's really anchoring the right front and drawing back, and his knee is basically touching the ground. So what I'm considering is that I want his treat and his reward to come in association with his knee touching the ground, and to come when he's actually in that bow position. Instead of he touches the ground, he comes upright and then he gets the treat, right? Because if you make that a pattern, they're gonna touch and then wanna get back up really quick to get the treat, right? Because that's what we're conditioning. So I'm considering I want him to hang and hover in that bow position, because that's where he's going to be receiving the conditioning and the reinforcement. So you might see me kind of luring him with the treat a little bit, because I don't want him to be eager to get up to get the treat. I want him to be eager to hover and hang in the bow, and that's where he's going to get rewarded. Good. Good. Yes, yes, yes. Good boy, good boy, good boy. Session 3, those were our 3 efforts. I couldn't be happier. He totally got it. He understands the assignment. And although it would be so tempting for me to go, let's just do 1 more, I'm not going to, because I truly believe that leaving him in this space and ending on that note is gonna make the thought and the rock just right there waiting on the surface for me next time I go to ask for the bow. Good job, buddy.